You're walking alone at night and you think you're going back to your safe place, but you just crossed into the vegan realm. Molly was a 16-year-old girl, an equestrian, the pride of mom and dad. She had a horse named Apricot. Now, Apricot was more than a horse to her. He was her best friend in all of the world. They would spend all the time together, mostly training for competitions. And they would win all of these competitions. They were inseparable and unbeatable by anyone else. Now, both Molly and Apricot were very promising in the equestrian world. Everyone was happy. But one day, during one of the competitions, everything seemed normal, routine, going as well as always, with Molly and Apricot about to win once again. But this time, a loud noise from the attending public frightened the horse, and he couldn't make the final jump. Both Apricot and Molly fell to the ground and sustained injuries. Apricot fractured one of his hind legs, and so did Molly. She also fractured one of her legs. Now the girl was rushed to the hospital where they would treat her injuries, and she was told she was going to make a full recovery in a 4 weeks time. She was also promised that Apricot was getting the best care possible and that he would make a recovery as well. She could not wait to be reunited with her beloved Apricot, her best friend in all of the world. When Molly finally made a full recovery, the first thing she did was go to the stables. She hadn't been there in weeks. She was looking for her beloved Apricot, but he was nowhere to be found. Quickly, Molly started to panic. Where's Apricot? She doesn't see him. She sees all the other horses, but not him. She goes back to the main house to confront her parents about Apricot. Where is he? What have you done with him? The parents, with a heavy heart, cannot hide the awful truth from her anymore and tell her that because Apricot sustained a severe injury, a fracture in one of his legs, he would not be able to compete anymore, and therefore he would not be profitable for them to keep. So he had to be put down. Molly goes into a frenzy. She goes absolutely berserk, lashes out at her parents, starts crying uncontrollably. and locks herself up in her room, not wanting to speak to anyone. She cried herself to sleep. Now the next morning, the parents go to her bedroom to wake her up for breakfast and to try to explain the whole situation. There's no answer. They knock and knock on her door. No response. They force their way into Molly's bedroom and find her lifeless on her bed. The loss of Apricot had been too much for her little heart to take. Bryce was a proud hunter and very skilled. He had a trophy room in his house where he displayed the heads of every animal he ever killed. But there was one he hadn't conquered yet. The mighty lion, king of the jungle. And he prepared to go hunting for the beast. The next morning, Bryce wakes up. He feels different. Everything looks strange and smells strange. And he doesn't understand what's happening. He thinks, at first, he thinks he's poisoned or something. He looks at his hands, but they're paws. He's frightened now. He goes to the bathroom, sees himself in the mirror. He's turning into a lion. He goes into panic mode, starts roaring. But he wants to ask for help. To no avail. His family downstairs, just having breakfast, wife and kids, are frightened by the loud noises and the roaring. He goes downstairs to the kitchen. Now the family see this lion and they freak out. They start throwing things at him. It almost looks comical. They throw pots and pans and lettuces and stuff. He's trying to convey that he's Bryce. He's human. Why won't they listen? Because he's roaring like a lion that he now is. He starts getting hungry. So now his wife and kids look like steaks to him. This frightens him. And he runs away from home. Now there's a lion on the loose in the city. And it's all over the news now. The police are searching for him with helicopters and patrol cars and everything. The neighbors are completely scared, afraid for their lives. Everyone's freaking out over this lion in the city. He pleads for help with everyone. But all they see and hear is this beast. Now finally, the police catches him and they shoot at him. The family arrives at the scene and now this lion is bleeding out to death in the middle of the street. But as he bleeds out, he starts morphing once again into Bryce, the person that he was. Everyone watches in horror. They call an ambulance. He's rushed into a hospital. He's not expected to survive, but he makes a full recovery. Now the first thing he does is he goes back to his house. He walks into his trophy room and gets rid of all the heads and his weapons. From that day, he swore never to go hunting again and never to hurt any animal ever again. That's right. Bryce learned his lesson and went vegan. All he had to do was realize that an animal is an individual with his own thoughts and feelings. All it took was for him to be put in his victim's place for once. This is the sort of lesson that you can only learn in the vegan realm.